Oh hey, welcome back to the channel. Jeremy here from Long Speed Marine. Today we're getting back on doing the tunnel of the car, and I'm going to be working on the transmission hump, the transmission panel of it, and let's just see where we get. Okay, so we're going to be working on the transmission hump portion here, and just want to start making out my pattern to come back and end up on this pad here. So obviously it all needs to end up here on this pad on top of a body mount here. So that's what I'm going to try to do, just the center section, and get that part started from here down, and then do up. I'll work up from the sides from there. So let's get into making a pattern for this. All right, so what I want to do is just make a pattern. So I've got my angle here. I'm going to do this section here in a flat piece that's just about as wide as the top section of the tunnel here. And come back and rest on this pad. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this in all one piece, but I'm going to try my best to see if that will work. So I want to get this angle coming down here for the transmission and follow along. This part will be easy to do, but I just want to get my angle set. So I'm going to take this TIG rod here, this thicker TIG rod, and just kind of use it as my guide for my tunnel. So I'll hold it up here. I want this to come down to about there, and then up a bit, and that'll actually work quite well. I'll figure out my height afterwards, but I just need to bend this a bit more, I guess, so that that sits. It's a little bit high here in the center, so what I'll do is I'll bend this out. Hopefully you guys can see this all right. Too much. All right, so that's going to allow me to come along the tunnel here, rest on this body mount. So that gives me my shape. I'm still holding that a little bit bent. I need to straighten that out a bit. There. That's exactly where I want it. That'll follow nice tight to the tunnel. Maybe we'll bend this up just a bit. All right. So there's my, I don't know if you guys can see that all right, but there's my shape to how I want this top piece curved. And I mean, this in no relation is how long I want to have it. I don't need it up that high. But I will break this portion first, put the little bend in the panel there. So now I just need to measure, find a tape measure, and figure out how wide I want it. Again, I only want it pretty much the width of the flat portion of this transmission right here is how wide I will have this piece, because then the pieces from the side I will have come up and curve over, and then I'll just tack them to the side piece. So let's get a tape measure and measure that. All right, so that's going to be, let's go 8 inches wide. So that top piece will be 8 inches wide. Maybe we'll do 10. Yeah, we'll do 10 coming all the way down. Yeah. So that'll give me enough to go up there. So let's do 10, we're going to do 10 inches wide for that top panel, and I may have to redo all these, but that's okay. This is just sort of a trial and error thing that I had going on here, more so for the shape, to see if I would like that shape. So we will start out with 10 inches wide. Don't really want it that wide down here. Maybe I won't. Yeah, I'll do 8. I'll do 8. 8's what we're going to do. All right, so I got my sheet metal here, and so I'm just going to mark off my 8 inches. And I'll use my shear to cut this. So I will set my So I'll set this here to 8 inches, and this is going to be pretty easy to measure off. I just stick the marker on the end of it, and away we go. Oops. I guess it helps if I keep that straight. There we go. All right. Okay, so got my piece cut, and now I've obviously, you can see, got my pattern. So I'm just going to mark off the exact same that I have here, of where, basically where I need to bend. I'll do this in the break. I'll break this first piece. So start here. Roughly, just to give me a guide in the break of where I want my bend to be. This second little bend in here, once I get this part broken to the same angle that I have here, if you guys can see that, when I get it broken to that, then this second little hump and this last hump, I'll just bend by hand. That's going to be about it. Let's take this out and see. Perfect. All right. So you can see that follows along with my pattern there nicely. Hopefully you guys can see that. So it fits right in that angle. So now I just need to bend up this one, but I'll just do that on the bench. All right, so now that I've got that one set, I'm just going to mark my next angle here, which is right here. Get my square. Where'd I put it? On the floor. Oh gosh, that was way off. Why was I so far off on that one? I don't know. Okay. So all this needs now is just a slight bend. So I'm just going to use the edge of the table to bend this part. I'll line up that line roughly, relatively straight. Give it a nice twist. A little bit more. There we go. Now that follows that. Now I just need to worry about this end down here. So, line this up. I've got a little bit of a bend right about here. And I am really no expert at any of this stuff. I'm learning as I go. So if you guys have a better way to do this, let me know. Better way to make a pattern, whatever, please let me know. So bend that a little bit. Oh, that's way too much. Nice thing is we can always pull a little bit back out. So now let's just make sure, yep. So now that follows along with our pattern. Pretty much the way we want it. So let's go stick this in the car and see what it looks like. Okay. Perfect. All right, so that's going to be the start to our tunnel here. And what I will probably do now, just to stiffen this up, is I will run a bead down it. But obviously once I get the side pieces put on, it will also really stiffen this up. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run a bead down it, a bead roll, just to stiffen all of this stuff up a little bit maybe. No, maybe not. Okay, so now I'm going to screw this to my firewall to get this portion set. And then I'll start building off my side pieces now from here. Okay, so I'm just going to mark this now for where I want to cut it. Basically cutting this in half. Okay. I'll use my shear again to cut this off. So basically I'm going to do from this bend here back. So I'm just going to mark on here the distance that I want to do, which will be about to here. So we will cut this now. Okay, so now I've got my two pieces marked. I'm just going to go back into the car there and figure out at what height I need to make the curve. All right, I'll do it from this side so you guys can see. So what I'm going to do is just make a curve over to here, and it'll end up being, of course, off a bit, which is fine. So I'm going to basically start my curve down here. And what I'll end up doing is having to trim this down so that it's on an angle like this as it goes along. So I'll just trim away the bottom piece here to have this bend go up and over like that. I'm going to use my pipe anvil here to create this bend. So just with these lines, I've got a rough idea of where I want to be. It's actually really the distance of this pipe. So I'll mark this side as well. Those both lined up at the same sort of point. And just trying to give this a slight curve. And we'll go back to the car and see what that looks like. All right. That's beauties. Okay, so I'm just going to put this in the brake now and actually just break the very edge over here. And that will give me that top piece flattened over, and then I'll be able to work what this angle is going to be down here once I get that part done. Alright, so I've got that top piece broken. That's going to sit nicely on there. So now we just need to figure out how much I have to trim away here. I'll do this. That's going to be too much. I'd love to be able to push this down farther, but this frame section's in the way, because then I could just line it up with the floor of the car. But I can't really do that. So, hold this here. I can just start trimming this away like that. Trim that piece off. So here's the sides made up. I bent the bottom, kicked that out a little bit, got it tacked into place. I still need to do a little bit of trimming across the bottom to get it to sit down more, and then what I will do is just tack in along the bottom to the floor. Got both sides in, so they're looking pretty good, and I will just have to build out the rest of this as we go. I'm going to try and get this to come in a little bit, to angle back in here a little bit, just because that's going to be in the seat area. So I want this to be pushed in just a little bit so that our seat has a little bit more room in the floor here. Even though there's still quite a bit of room, we'll just want to be able to have a little bit more adjustability in the seat maybe in that area. But this section here will still give us a lot of room for the seat. That's going to do it for today. Short and sweet. I'm going to break these up into a few more sections, and as I go through and make the different parts of the tunnel and just show you how I do that. So on the next one, I'll be filling in the back section of this, and then I'll work on the piece up closer to the firewall. So thanks for tagging along on this. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash the like to follow along with this and all my other builds that I've got going on. Thanks very much and take care.